I was sitting in my car outside a grocery store last Tuesday, watching people hurry in and out with their carts. Something struck me that day. Something that would change how I looked at life forever. A young mother was struggling with her groceries, her toddler, and her keys all at once. But what caught my attention wasn't her struggle. It was her smile. A genuine, radiant smile that seemed to say, "This is exactly where I'm meant to be." That's when it hit me, as if she had it all together. She actually believed she did. You see, most of us spend our lives waiting for the perfect moment, waiting until we're ready, waiting until we have everything we need. But here's the truth that's going to shake your world today. Everything you're waiting for is already within you. Let that sink in for a moment. You know, that feeling when you're about to step into an important meeting and your heart's racing, that voice in your head whispers, "Who do you think you are? You're not qualified to be here." But what if I told you that the very act of stepping into that room, as if you belong there, actually makes you belong there? Our minds are extraordinary instruments, but they can also be our greatest deceivers. They tell us stories. Stories about who we are, what we're capable of, and what we deserve. But here's the fascinating part. These stories aren't fixed. They're not carved in stone. They're more like clay, waiting to be molded by our hands. Think about a time when you achieved something you thought was impossible. Maybe it was running that first mile, giving that crucial presentation, or finally standing up for yourself in a difficult situation. In that moment of achievement, did you feel like a different person? No. You were the same person who had always been capable of that achievement. The only thing that changed was your belief in what was possible. This isn't about fake it till you make it. This is about awakening to a profound truth. The person you want to become already exists within you. Every single quality you admire in others, confidence, compassion, courage, wisdom. You don't need to create these qualities. You need to uncover them. I once worked with a group of students in an inner-city school. These kids had been told their whole lives what they couldn't do, what they couldn't become. One day we did an exercise. I asked them to spend just one day acting as if they were already successful scholars. Not pretending, but embodying that reality. The transformation was immediate and stunning. Their posture changed, their language evolved, their engagement skyrocketed. Why? Because they gave themselves permission to be who they truly were beneath all the... This principle extends far beyond the classroom. It's about understanding that the gap between who you are and who you want to be is often just a matter of permission. Permission to be great. Permission to be powerful. Permission to be extraordinary. Look at your hands for a moment. Really look at them. These hands have the power to build empires, to comfort the suffering, to create beauty. They always had this power. The only question is, will you grant yourself permission to use it? When you act as if you already have what you want, you're not engaging in wishful thinking. You're aligning yourself with a fundamental law of human psychology. Our actions shape our reality just as much as our reality shapes our actions. This is why the most successful people in any field often share a common trait. They didn't wait to feel successful to act successful. They understood that action precedes feeling. Every morning when you wake up, you make a choice. You can either wake up as the person you think you are, bound by all your perceived limitations and past experiences, or you can wake up as the person you know you can be. The choice is yours, and it's a choice you make not once, but moment by moment, day by day. I remember standing at the foot of a mountain, literally a mountain, feeling completely overwhelmed by what lay ahead. The summit seemed impossibly distant, the path treacherously steep. But then I remembered this principle: act as if you're already a skilled climber. With each step, I didn't just pretend to be confident. I embodied the confidence of someone who had already reached the summit countless times. And you know what? The mountain didn't become any less steep. But my perception of my ability to climb it transformed completely. This is where most people get it wrong. They wait for confidence to take action, when in reality, confidence is born from action. They wait for inspiration to create, when creativity flows from the act of creation itself. They wait for love to feel worthy, when worthiness is what attracts love in the first place. What if, starting right now, you lived as if you already had everything you're seeking? How would you walk? How would you talk? How would you treat others? How would you treat yourself? The world responds not to our desires, but to our demonstrations. When you demonstrate the qualities you seek, whether it's confidence, abundance, love, or success, you create a magnetic force that attracts those very qualities into your life. This isn't mystical thinking. It's practical psychology. When you act as if you're already successful, you make decisions differently. You carry yourself differently. You interact with others differently. And these differences create ripples that transform your reality. This isn't about suppressing your current reality or denying your challenges. It's about expanding your awareness to include the greater truth of who you are and what you're capable of. It's about understanding that your present circumstances are just one small part of your story, not the whole. Think about water for a moment. When you place water in any container, it doesn't question its shape. It doesn't resist. It simply fills whatever space it's given. Your potential is like that water, limitless in its ability to adapt and expand. But unlike water, we often resist our own expansion. We create invisible containers of doubt and fear that limit how far we can flow. Let me share something powerful with you. Every morning before I step out of bed, I take 3 deep breaths. With each breath, I expand my invisible container. I don't just imagine being the person I want to be. I feel it in every cell of my body. This isn't about affirmations or positive thinking. It's about embodying your truth before your feet even touch the floor. You see, the universe doesn't respond to what we want. It responds to what we are. When you truly understand this, it changes everything. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to naturally attract success? It's not because they're lucky. It's because they've aligned their internal state with their desired reality. Every great achievement in human history started with someone acting as if something impossible was possible. The first flight, the first steps on the moon, the first computer, all began with people who dared to act as if their dreams were already reality. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't wait for perfect conditions. They acted as if the future they envisioned was already here. But here's where many people get stuck. They think this principle is about pretending or putting on a show. Nothing could be further from the truth. This is about authenticity at its deepest level. It's about recognizing that the person you dream of becoming is actually your most authentic self. The fears, the doubts, the limiting beliefs, these are the pretense. I once worked with a brilliant artist who couldn't bring herself to show her work to anyone. But she had all the talent, all the technical skill, but she was waiting to feel ready. I asked her a simple question: what would you do differently if you were already a successful artist? The answer changed her life. She realized that successful artists don't wait to feel ready. They show their work, they face criticism, they keep creating. The moment she started acting as if she was already successful, opportunities began flowing into her life. This principle applies to every area of your life. Want better relationships? Act as if you're already the person who has deep, meaningful connections. Want better health? Act as if you're already someone who prioritizes their well-being. Want financial abundance? Act as if you're already someone who makes wise financial decisions. But let me be very clear about something. This isn't about external trappings. It's not about buying things you can't afford or pretending to be something you're not. It's about aligning your internal state with your desired reality. It's about making decisions from the perspective of your future self. Think about a tree. A mighty oak doesn't question whether it deserves the sunlight or the rain. It doesn't wonder if it's worthy of growing tall. It simply grows naturally, expressing its full potential. You have that same natural right to express your full potential. The only difference is that you have the power of choice. Everything you want wants you. Success wants you. Health wants you. Love wants you. Abundance wants you. But they can only enter your life to the degree that you're willing to embody them now. Remember the last time you felt truly confident? In that moment, you weren't thinking about being confident. You were simply being yourself. That's the key. When you act as if you already have what you want, you're not adding something to yourself. You're removing the barriers that have been blocking your natural state of abundance. I want you to try something with me right now. Close your eyes for a moment. Think of someone you deeply admire, someone who embodies the qualities you wish to develop. Now, here's the crucial part. Recognize that your ability to see and appreciate those qualities in them means those same qualities exist within you. You wouldn't be able to recognize them otherwise. This is where real transformation begins. When you understand that everything you admire in others is actually a reflection of your own potential, it changes how you move through the world. You stop seeking external validation because you realize that all the approval you need is already within you. But let's be practical about this. How do you actually implement this principle in your daily life? It starts with small decisions. When you're faced with a choice, ask yourself, what would the version of me who already has what I want do in this? And this is crucial, act on that answer. If you want financial abundance, make decisions as if you're already wealthy. This doesn't mean spending money you don't have. It means making wise long-term choices. It means investing in yourself. It means valuing your time and energy. If you want better relationships, act as if you're already someone who has deep, meaningful connections. This means being vulnerable when it's easier to stay guarded. It means giving without expecting anything in return. It means showing up fully, even when it's uncomfortable. The beauty of this principle is that it creates an immediate shift in your energy. When you act as if you already have what you want, you stop operating from a place of lack. You stop desperately seeking. Instead, you start attracting and allowing. Think about how different your life would be if you approached every situation from a place of completeness rather than lack. How would you handle challenges differently? How would you treat yourself differently? How would you pursue your goals differently? The most profound shifts in our lives often come from the simplest realizations. Here's one that changed everything for me. Our thoughts are like seeds, but our actions are the soil in which they grow. You can have the most powerful thoughts in the world, but without aligned action, they'll never take root. Let me give you a deeper truth that most people miss about acting as if you already have what you want. It's not about the end goal. It's about who you become in the process. When you act as if you're already successful, you develop the habits of successful people. When you act as if you're already confident, you develop the patterns of confident people. The acting as if becomes the bridge between who you are and who you're becoming. I once observed a group of aspiring entrepreneurs. The ones who succeeded weren't necessarily the ones with the best ideas or the most resources. They were the ones who started making decisions as if they were already successful business owners before they had their first customer. They treated their time like it was precious. They approached problems with ownership rather than victimhood. They carried themselves with the dignity of someone who knew their worth. But here's where many people get tripped up. They think acting as if means putting on a show for others. That's not it at all. This principle is about aligning your internal reality with your desired external reality. It's about integrity in its truest sense. Being whole and undivided in your thoughts, feelings, and actions. Consider how a master musician approaches their instrument. They don't wait until they feel inspired to practice. They don't wait until they feel worthy to perform. They act as if they are already the musician they aspire to be. This means showing up every day, practicing with purpose, treating their craft with respect, even when no one is watching. This brings us to another crucial aspect of this principle, consistency. It's not enough to act as if only when you feel like it or when things are going well. The real power comes from maintaining this alignment even in the face of challenges, especially in the face of challenges. Think about the times in your life when you faced significant obstacles, the moments that tested everything you thought you knew about yourself. In those moments, you have a choice. You can either shrink back into old patterns or you can step forward as the person you know you. But let's address the elephant in the room. What about fear? What about doubt? What about those moments when acting as it feels impossible? Here's the liberating truth. These feelings don't have to disappear for you to move forward. In fact, they're often signposts pointing toward your growth edge. The key is to understand that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's acting in alignment with your highest self despite the fear. When you act as if you already have what you want, you're not denying your current reality. You're choosing which reality you want to feed with your energy and attention. I want to share something deeply personal with you. There were moments in my life when everything seemed to be falling apart. The temptation to retreat, to play small, to give up on my dreams was overwhelming. But in those moments, I made a decision. I decided to act as if I was already the person who had overcome these challenges. Not because I felt strong, but because I knew that strength would come from taking a line to action. Acting as if you already have what you want isn't about waiting for perfect conditions. It's about creating those conditions through your actions. Think about it. If you already had everything you wanted, how would you approach your current circumstances? You would likely approach them with gratitude, seeing them as stepping stones rather than obstacles. You would approach them with creativity, looking for opportunities rather than problems. You would approach them with confidence, knowing that every experience— here's a powerful exercise I want you to try. For the next week, before you make any decision, pause and ask yourself, what would the future version of me do in this situation? Then act from that place. Not from fear, not from lack, not from past conditioning, but from the wisdom of your future self. This isn't about denying your current reality. It's about expanding your awareness to include the greater truth of who you are and what's possible for you. When you act as if you already have what you want, you're not pretending, you're preparing, you're creating neural pathways that support your growth. You're building evidence that supports your— Think about how different your life would be if you approached every interaction, every challenge, every opportunity from the perspective of someone who already has everything they desire. How would you treat yourself differently? How would you treat others differently? How would you use your time differently? Remember, the universe doesn't respond to your wishes or your wants. It responds to your level of being. When you elevate your being through aligned action, you naturally attract experiences that match that elevation. This isn't magical thinking. It's practical psychology combined with universal principles. Consider how this applies to your relationships. When you act as if you're already someone who has deep, fulfilling relationships, you naturally become more present, more compassionate, more understanding. You listen differently. You communicate differently. You show up differently. And as a result, your relationships transform. The same principle applies to your work, your health, your finances, every area of your life. When you act as if you already have what you want, you stop operating from a place of desperation or need. Instead, you operate from a place of abundance and choice. This shift in energy is palpable, and it changes how the world responds to you. Let's talk about something that most motivational speakers won't tell you. There will be days when acting as if feels impossible. Days when your old patterns seem too deeply ingrained to change. Days when the gap between where you are and where you want to be seems impossibly wide. These days aren't failures. They're opportunities for your deepest growth. You see, this principle of acting as if you already have what you want isn't about perfection. It's about direction. It's about making a conscious choice, moment by moment, to align yourself with your highest potential. Even if you can only maintain that alignment for 5 minutes at first, those 5 minutes are creating new neural pathways in your brain. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. At first, you wobble, you fall, you doubt whether you'll ever get it. But there's a moment, a magical moment, when your body understands what balance feels like. From that point on, you're not trying to balance. You're simply balancing. The same principle applies to acting as if. At first, it might feel awkward, unnatural, even fake. But with practice, it becomes your natural state of being. Here's a profound truth that changed everything for me. Yet, your comfort zone isn't really about comfort at all. It's about familiarity. That's why sometimes we stay stuck in situations that aren't serving us, simply because they're familiar. But when you act as if you already have what you want, you're creating a new kind of familiarity. You're making success, confidence, and abundance your new normal. I want to share something powerful with you about the brain. Neuroscience has shown us that the brain can't tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you act as if you already have what you want, you're not just playing pretend. You're literally rewiring your neural pathways. You're creating new patterns of thought, feeling, and behavior that support your desired reality. But here's where most people get stuck. They wait for their circumstances to change before they change their behavior. They think, when I have more money, I'll start making better financial decisions. When I feel more confident, I'll start speaking up in meetings. When I find the right relationship, I'll start showing up differently. This is backward thinking. The truth is, your circumstances will change when you change. When you start making decisions as if you're already financially abundant, you'll start seeing opportunities you never noticed before. When you start carrying yourself with confidence, people will respond to you differently. When you start showing up in relationships as if you're already whole and complete, you'll attract people who match that energy. Said a thing, every great achievement in your life started with you, acting as if it was possible before you had any evidence. The first time you drove a car, you had to act as if you were capable of handling that responsibility. The first time you took on a leadership role, you had to act as if you were ready for that challenge. The first time you fell in love, you had to act as if you were worthy of that connection. But let me be clear about some things. Acting as if isn't about forcing yourself to feel something you don't feel. It's about aligning your actions with your highest vision for yourself, regardless of how you feel in the moment. It's about understanding that your actions shape your feelings just as much as your feelings shape your actions. Think about the last time you felt truly alive, truly in alignment with your highest self. In that moment, you weren't thinking about acting as if. You were simply being authentic to your true nature. That's what this principle is really about. Removing the barriers between who you are now and who you truly are. It's like behind that the people, powerful truth. Everything you want is already within you. Success isn't something you pursue. It's something you attract by the person you become. When you act as if you already have what you want, you're not creating something new. You're allowing your true nature to emerge. Let me share something that might shift your perspective entirely. Every time you choose to act as if you already have what you want, you're not just changing your own life. You're changing the lives of everyone around you. Your transformation becomes permission for others to transform. Your courage becomes inspiration for others to be courageous. Think about the ripple effect of your actions. When you choose to act from a place of abundance rather than scarcity, you create an environment where others feel safe to do the same. When you choose to act from a place of confidence rather than fear, you show others what's possible for them. This principle isn't just about big moments or major decisions. It's about the small choices you make every day. It's about how you talk to yourself when no one's listening. It's about how you carry yourself when no one's watching. It's about the standards you maintain even when no one would know the difference. Every moment is an opportunity to align yourself with your highest vision. Every interaction is a chance to embody your deepest truth. Every challenge is an invitation to step more fully into your power. Remember, the gap between where you are and where you want to be is bridged by your actions, not your intentions. You can have the most powerful vision in the world, but without aligned action, it remains just that, a vision. When you act as if you already have what you want, you're building that bridge one choice at a time. But let's talk about resistance for a moment. Sometimes, when you start acting in alignment with your highest self, you'll face opposition, both internal and external. People might question your changes. Your old patterns might fight to reassert themselves. This resistance isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's evidence that you're growing. Think about water again for a moment. When water meets resistance, it doesn't stop flowing. It finds new paths. It reshapes itself. It transforms obstacles into opportunities. This is exactly what happens when you commit to acting as if you already have what you want. You develop this same fluid adaptability. Let me share something profound with you. The moment you decide to act as if you already have what you want, you create a new timeline for your life. Everything that happens from that point forward is influenced by this decision. Your choices become different. Your responses become different. Your energy becomes different. But here's what makes this principle truly transformative. It's not about reaching a destination. It's about embracing a new way of being. When you truly understand this, you stop waiting for some future moment when everything will be perfect. You start living from your highest potential right now, in this moment. Consider how this applies to every area of your life. In your relationships, you stop waiting to feel love to give love. In your career, you stop waiting to feel successful to act successful. In your personal growth, you stop waiting to feel ready to take action. You begin to understand that readiness is a myth. Growth happens through action. Let me tell you something that might completely shift your perspective. The universe doesn't test you. It reflects you. When you act as if you already have what you want, you're not trying to fool the universe. You're aligning yourself with a deeper truth. The truth of who you really are beneath all the layers of doubt and fear. Think about the most recent challenge you faced. How different would that experience have been if you had approached it from the perspective of someone who already had everything they needed, not from a place of arrogance, but from a place of deep inner knowing? Every time you act as if you already have what you want, you're not just changing your future. You're healing your past. You're showing every part of yourself that felt unworthy or incapable that a new way of being is possible. But let's be absolutely clear about something. I think this isn't about bypassing your emotions or denying your current reality. It's about expanding your awareness to include both what is and what can be. It's about holding space for your human experience while simultaneously embodying your highest potential. I want you to really hear this. You don't need to wait for permission to be great. You don't need to wait for validation to shine your light. You don't need to wait for perfect circumstances to start living from your highest truth. The only permission you need is your own. Think about what's possible if you start living from this place of alignment. Not just for a day or a week, but as your new normal. How would your relationships transform? How would your work evolve? How would your relationship with yourself deepen? Every great achievement in human history started with someone acting as if something impossible was possible. Every breakthrough, every innovation, every transformation began with someone choosing to align their actions with a vision that existed only in their mind. Start where you are. Use what you have. Act from who you know you can be. Don't wait for confidence. Let it find you in action. Don't wait for clarity. Let it emerge through movement. Don't wait for certainty. Let it develop through experience. The world needs your light. It needs your gifts. It needs your courage to step fully into who you really are. And it needs these things not someday in the future, but right now in this moment. Every time you choose to act as if you already have what you want, you're not just changing your own life. You're changing the field of possibilities for everyone around you. Your courage becomes contagious. Your transformation becomes inspirational. Your alignment becomes invitation. As we come to the close of our time together, I want to leave you with this. The gap between who you are and who you want to be is not nearly as wide as you think. In fact, that person you want to become is already within you, waiting to be expressed through your actions. Starting today, let every choice you make be a statement of who you really are. Let every action you take be an expression of your highest truth. Let every moment be an opportunity to align yourself more fully with your deepest potential. Remember, the future you dream of isn't something that happens to you. It's something that happens through you. And it happens one aligned action at a time, one conscious choice at a time, one moment of courage at a time. You already have everything you need. You're already everything you wish to become. Now go forth and act accordingly. The world is waiting for the gift that only you can give, the gift of your authentic, aligned, fully expressed self. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your invitation to step fully into the truth of who you really are. Not someday, not when you're ready, not when conditions are perfect, but right now in this moment. Are you willing to act as if you already have everything you need to begin? The answer to that question will determine everything that follows. Choose wisely. Choose courageously. Thank you.